Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. I'm Josh Razauskas, coming back at you here with another episode of my show. It's been a few days because of the joys of living with CP, but as the old saying goes, for every cloud there is a silver lining. So because I haven't been able to do videos in a few days, there's a heck of a lot to dive into and discuss. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into the proverbial fire with this. Our dear Miss Kathleen Kennedy is at it again. She just did an interview where she was essentially asked, I was curious, was episode 9 a particular tough nut to crack? And her response was, every one of these Star Wars movies is a particular tough nut to crack, because we don't have any books to draw off of. We don't have comic books to draw off of. All we have is original creative minds with original ideas to write a script from scratch. Now, you can take this one of two ways. Despite the humorous way that I set up this portion of the show, I think it's important to note that there are two ways to take this. The first is the knee-jerk reaction, which would be, oh, Kathleen Kennedy once again putting her foot in her mouth and going and talking about things that she doesn't understand, when there's years and years and years of Star Wars novels that were written that they can draw material from. But I think the more likely scenario, and I know that this was spoken about yesterday by Christian Harloff on Dark Side Light Side with John Campia, the more likely scenario I feel as well for me is that Kathleen, in this particular instance, was just talking about episode 7, 8, and 9. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 are legitimate original creations by Lucasfilm and Disney. So there are no episodes 7, 8, and 9 book material for them to withdraw from. So in that context, she's 100% correct, and it is a different process. However, that being said, clarifying her comments aside, you also cannot ignore just how stupid she is for saying these things. Because, Kathy, my dear, as I talked about before previously, you are the head of Lucasfilm. You have one job, and that job is to decide who is best to achieve an end goal of a project, and who do you decide to move forward with, and who do you place that person with to make sure that end outcome is achieved. When you go out there and you say things like, oh, there is no original material for us to withdraw from in the Star Wars universe, and people have seen that you've had director after director after director with problems over the last 5 years working with you in your Star Wars franchise, this is the kind of thing that gives us, as viewers and fans of Star Wars, the cause to pause and say, we're not the biggest fans of what you're doing with our franchise here, Kathleen, and this is why a lot of us are saying that you are probably better suited as a producer working directly with directors, and not so much as the head of a studio in charge of making creative decisions. Because Mandalorian and the genius move of teaming up Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni aside, you haven't had a large string of luck here. And this latest comment does nothing but just make you look oh so bad. So I hope that you're able to come out and acknowledge that and say, hey, look, this is actually how I meant to say this. If you just come out and clarify that what Christian said and what I'm backing up is correct, that you were just talking about your own original trilogy, that will smooth things over a lot with an already divided fan base from your tenure. Just a little piece of advice there. That being said, obviously you know that I've reviewed every episode if you are a returning viewer, so I am absolutely loving everything about The Mandalorian. It's genius, and I am looking forward to episode 9 because it seems like she has turned that creative corner. But this was just a terrible mistake to come out. Before I get into the rest of my topics from today, talking about the Star Wars universe reminds me of the Jedi. And the Jedi reminds me to let you all know that last night I stumbled upon a fellow YouTube creator for the first time that I have fallen absolutely creatively in love with. The girl is funny and she puts a ton of work into what she does. Her channel name is Amanda the Jedi. So for some reason, you're watching me just restarting and trying to do this thing right, and you're not part of her 1 million+ subscribers that she has over there, make sure that you click the card either right now on your phone, tablet, or computer if you're watching via TV. Give this video a go back on your device after you get done watching it and click on that link in the card in the description and go and check out Amanda the Jedi. The video that made me subscribe to Amanda last night was just thinking to myself, I wonder what everyone else thinks about Disney Plus. I know I love it, but I wonder if there's any divided opinions. So I was just watching other Disney Plus review type videos, and this video popped up that said Disney Plus is annoying. And it was just this hilarious piece of comedy commentary from Amanda. And then just today, just before sitting down to talk to all of you, I watched a video that she did about Shia LaBeouf. I cannot remember the entire name of it off the top of my head, but it's the LaBeoufissance. And in the video, she's talking about particularly how his 2 latest films really showcase the rise and fall and rise again of Shia LaBeouf, and how he's one of the greatest actors we have going today, and just a genuinely good human being. And it legit brought a tear to my eye. So I'm going to link her channel again in a card if there's card space, which I believe there will be, because I'm making that creative decision right now out loud that yes, indeed, there will be. So you can check out either one of those videos individually as well. I just had to take the time, as I like to do always, whenever I run across someone new and exciting for me in this space, the first time I've discovered them, I love talking about the creative process because I know what a difficult thing it is. Someone for me as a viewer scratches that creative itch and also makes me appreciate it as a fellow creator. I have to be all about it. And that was the case with Amanda the Jedi. So make sure you check out her work. Speaking of our wonderful sci-fi fantasy franchises, Star Trek's in the news. Yeah, that wasn't a typo in the title / thumbnail today, folks. It looks like we're going to get a continuation of the Kelvin timeline, or the Bad Robot verse, whatever you want to call it. It looks like Star Trek 4 and this generation of films that, of course, started with the 2009 film starring Chris Pine, Carla Urban, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, and others. It is back on the table and moving forward again, this time in incarnation with the likes of Noah Hawley, who, of course, just recently rose to TV prominence as the creator of the Legion television series. So if you're a big fan of Legion, as I was, this is incredibly exciting news, and I'm not a big fan of the Kelvin timeline, as you all know, but even I have to sit back and go, wow, I am down for this. So I'm looking really forward to see what this story is going to be, and really excited now that we're going to get a Star Trek 4. And finally today, the piece of news that broke, I think, late last week that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet because of everything going on with the Mandalorian reviews, and something I think that kind of flew under the radar because I haven't seen very many others within our film-loving and TV-loving community here talking about this, is that while they were already working together quite a bit with shows like Power Rangers already being there and specials like Rocko's Modern Life and Invader Zim, Nickelodeon and Netflix announced a true, full-fledged partnership going forward as far as creation of original content. Obviously, this is an effort from them to counteract the already built-in family dynamic of Disney Plus and trying to let families know, hey, you're safe to come over here as well. But also, this is great for Nickelodeon and Paramount because they don't have to saddle the production cost that comes with doing projects. They can just work together hand in hand with Netflix and already have a distributor for everything they want to do. And me personally, I obviously am not a studio insider, so I have no information to actually base this opinion on. But it's my opinion right now that I feel that this is huge news for Nickelodeon and Netflix because I think this gives them the option to go to Nickelodeon and be like, hey, let's put all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Netflix. Let's do a separate adult-oriented Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle property, whether that be a movie or a new series or maybe a continuation of one of the past properties in new form that's for adults. Let's talk Hasbro, because Nickelodeon has already been licensing the streaming rights to us. Let's have Power Rangers move on permanently to Netflix as its new home following its end of its contract in 2021 with the Nickelodeon network. And let's have Power Rangers and Nickelodeon work together on Netflix for more expanded universe Power Rangers content. That's the number one thing that jumped out in my mind as someone who's a huge fan of both TMNT and Power Rangers. And then, of course, there is the also great news that this could mean that, unlike it is now, where it's a little bit of everywhere, this Netflix Nickelodeon deal could mean that all of the Nickelodeon content that we all grew up with and loved, Clarissa Explains It All that, The Amanda Show, on and on and on, can be found in one central hub. Doug and Rugrats, of course, I had to mention them as well. They can be found now, possibly, in that one central hub of, if I want to watch and stream Nickelodeon content, I go to Netflix. So this is a huge, huge deal, in my opinion. So you can't ignore this, and I think this is just great, great news. And I want to know what you think about that and everything else that I discussed here today. So make sure you chime in the comment section down below and let me know what you thought about all of today's topics. Thank you as always for being here. Please do consider subscribing if this was your first time here. Ring that bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos, be they reviews and or episodes of this very long form commentary program. Also, please drop a like on the video as well, because every little bit of interaction helps with that ever-changing YouTube algorithm. And as Batman Begins reminds us, it is not who we are, but what we do that defines us. So make the choice to go out and do something great today and make it so.